Hello, everyone. Welcome in. If you are just joining us, feel free to use the chat button at the bottom of your screen to let me know where you're listening from tonight. I'm here in Seattle in the Fremont neighborhood. Amisha is in the other Fremont in the Bay Area, and Lauren is joining us from West Seattle. Where are you? Got Andrea listening from Paris, Kentucky. Welcome. Ashish is listening from Seattle. Chris in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Welcome, everyone. So great to have you all here. Thanks for being here tonight. My name is Meghna Girardi. I am the events manager here at Book Larder in Seattle, and it's our very great pleasure to be speaking with Amisha Gurbani tonight. She's the author of this fantastic new book, Mumbai Modern, which I'm so excited for you all to hear about. Amisha is going to be joined in conversation by Lauren Coe, the author of the best-selling book Pantry, and they're going to dive into all things Indian roots, California cuisine, and fusion food. We're going to have a cocktail demo that we're going to get to see. Kumquat is going to be demoed by Amisha tonight, so I'm really excited to check it out and see how it's done. Books are available at booklarder.com. We do have signed copies of Mumbai Modern here in the store. I will put a link in the chat for anyone that is interested in purchasing a copy. You can support this author talk by purchasing your copy from us or from your favorite independent bookstore. We really appreciate anyone that's already done that. Thanks so much. We will have some time for questions. If you have any questions for Amisha or Lauren, you can drop them into the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. There's a little button with two bubbles. Just drop any of your questions in there, and we will try to get to as many as we can towards the end of the event tonight. And a lot of you have made your way into the chat. You're welcome to use this chat function here at the bottom of your screen to just share your feedback and share any comments that you might have, talk to each other during the event. We'll try to make this as cozy and intimate as possible. All right, so before I welcome Amisha and Lauren to the Zoom room, to the virtual Book Larder, I just want to read out their bios real quick because they're both very accomplished. Amisha Gurbani is a computer engineer, recipe developer, photographer, food blogger, and the creator of the Jam Lab. Born in Mumbai, she moved to the United States in 1999. Gurbani's culinary creations are remarkable for their unique flavor pairings and modern twists on Indian tradition. Through her blog and popular Instagram account, she teaches readers to play with sweet, spicy, sour, and savory flavors inspired by her Indian and Gujarati heritage. She's worked with Wired, Sunset, Diablo Magazine, Taproot Magazine, and Bake From Scratch. She lives in the Bay Area with her family, where she is joining us from tonight. Amisha is going to be speaking with Lauren Coe. Lauren is an author, self-taught home baker, founder of the popular Instagram account Loco Kitchen, and the author of the best-selling cookbook Pantry. Her colorful geometric style made all hell break loose on the frontier of contemporary pie art, and her iconic signature spoke design has been dubbed the modern lattice. Her work has been widely featured in publications such as Vogue, O Magazine, BuzzFeed's Tasty, and on screen in Martha Bakes and CBS's Sunday Morning. Lauren has roots in sunny San Diego, but is currently based in Seattle, Washington with her partner Ben and their bear dog, Santi. Amisha, Lauren, I'm so excited that both of you are here tonight. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk with our audience, with our guests. So stoked to have you. Come on up.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for being
Hi, Lauren.
here.
Hi, Meghna. Thanks so much for having us, Meghna. And thank you, Lauren, for taking the time, for this conversation. I couldn't be more honored to have you in conversation with me. I'm such a fan of your book. And all our
well, congrats on your book. What a huge accomplishment, and to be doing it having juggled a full-time job and children and family. Big congrats to you on this beautiful, beautiful book. I'm so excited to talk more about it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'm super excited to be here. I'm not sure who exactly is joining us. I'm sure some people know of you, but I'm sure that there's some people who are unfamiliar with your story. So maybe you can start off by sharing a little bit about yourself and your journey and how you got here with a beautiful published cookbook.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always loved cooking and baking. My mom has been my biggest inspiration in the kitchen. I have the most wonderful memories of cooking with her, baking with her since I was like 9, 10. Being an avid baker in India in those times was not very common. And to have her bake in the kitchen and coming out with these amazing biscuits, as she called them, because of the British influence. And then she would make souffles for us and just anything and everything. All the birthday cakes were made by her. So she was the biggest influence. And I think that's how I got interested into everything. She was like a tornado in the kitchen, just, whipping up dishes so quickly within like no time. And no measurements, right? The spices were just like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And that's how she cooked. And that's how she taught me. So, and I learned a lot from her. She was like a plethora of knowledge. And then I came here in 1999. And then my mom, she passed from cancer. And one of the things that I wanted to do was dedicate and write a cookbook to her as a tribute to her. As it was like a huge passion project for me to preserve all her recipes, preserve the heritage. I come from, my grandparents hail from Gujarat, which is in the western part of India. So I wanted to preserve those recipes as well. But bring in the California influence, because I've been in California for like 21 years now. 22 years actually. So I wanted to include both of those together. And that's how I came up with this cookbook, Mumbai Modern.
I love that. What a wonderful testament to her legacy, and what a beautiful way to kind of combine your source of inspiration with kind of the foods that you're cooking now. And I'm sure your kids will be really thrilled to kind of have this volume in their lives, and as they kind of continue to grow and learn to cook on their own as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Lauren. I think that was one of the other things. I wanted to have something that they can remember their grandma by, because they didn't meet her. So all the stories that I put in there is sort of like a legacy.
Oh, I love that. And it definitely feels warm. Not only are the recipes delicious and the photos beautiful, but you really feel that kind of sense of family and warmth in there.
Thank you.
Can you talk to us a little bit about how you got your book deal? I know people are always curious about like, how does one get to write a cookbook? And, everybody's story is different. So I'm curious to hear about what your journey was like and what that process was like for you.
Yeah, so it was, when I want something, I go for it, and I don't give up. So it just takes one to get your foot into the door, sort of. So I found my literary agent through a couple of other food bloggers, and I worked with her closely and came up with a book proposal. That's how I started out, actually. This was like about 3 years ago. We put together a book proposal, went through like at least about 6 to 8 months of edits with the book proposal. And then she helped to take the book proposal to the different publications and to the publishers. And a lot of them, most of them said no. There was one, Countryman Press, who said yes to me. And like I said, it just takes one to help you with what you want to achieve. And I'm grateful for my publisher, Countryman Press, to basically accept my proposal, to understand where I'm coming from, and to basically get on board with what I wanted to convey through my cookbook, and understand my story and help me promote my story through my cookbook. So it took a long time. to get the book deal. But once I got it, it was just like, go, go, go. Because then you're like more focused, you know, you're just like, okay, I have this thing in my hand. I want to do the best I can. And that's when you start writing your manuscript and working on the recipes, recipe development, recipe testing, Lauren, the
Tell us a
drill.
little bit more about, what recipe developing was like. What are some challenges that maybe you encountered in the kitchen? And, are there any recipes that didn't make it into the book?
Yeah. So in terms of recipe development, I think I knew what I wanted to put in the book. You have to put that as part of your proposal, actually, the recipes that you want to put as part of your proposal, and those can change. But it was basically a mixture of some traditional recipes, Mumbai street food, fusion recipes, and of course I needed to have a big baking chapter because I love baking. So recipe development was fun and challenging, and it all happened during the COVID, all of last year. So I was at home, and we were not going anywhere. So it sort of helped me focus more than ever to make sure that all my recipes are well tested. The challenges you face, there are some recipes which just take so much time, and you want to hit a certain level of taste, flavor, textures with a certain recipe. And sometimes it may take many tries to get that. And one of those recipes is the mango Srikhand tart is my book, which I'll show you the picture in a minute. But it's one of the recipes which took me 7 tries, believe it or not. Oof. It took me 7 tries to make that. Here's the recipe. I just wanted to show it to you guys. It's a mango Srikhand panna cotta tart in a ginger snap crust. And I was trying to make it sort of vegetarian because vegetarians there are some vegetarians who particularly do not like to eat gelatin in a panna cotta, but and I was trying it with different ingredients, but it was just not working out with the texture that I wanted. And after 7 tries, I did go finally with gelatin, but it turned out just what I wanted it and just how I wanted it. So I stuck with it.
A happy ending.
Happy ending. So it does take time. There are some recipes which I was able to do in a couple of tries, and that's fine. But it's a process. It's a whole process of going through the recipe development testing. And because of COVID, I was not able to share too many things that I made with my friends for them to taste it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
so did you end up having to eat everything yourself, or what did you do with all the recipe test results?
Actually, I would package them and then just leave them outside the doors.
Nice.
I would drive around town and drop packets for my friends and just text them that here's a little something.
Love that. Delivery service, everybody wins.
Service.
You don't waste any food. It's a great way to kind of repurpose.
Yeah, so that's what I did. But it was fun. It was fun. I won't say I regret any part of it. And I had the best taste testers, my kids and my husband. They love to eat. I would say they've been born with eating spices. So they started eating spices when they were in my tummy. So they love food. They appreciate different kinds of food. They're not fussy. They love vegetables. They love in season produce. So that makes me happy.
What are some of their favorite recipes in the book, or do they have, specific dishes that they request a lot?
They do. My daughter loves the aloo tikki arancini, which is in the book with a saffron aioli, and she's a huge fan of that. Here's the recipe. This is the aloo tikki arancini. So you basically take like day-old risotto and you mix in boiled potatoes, spices, and you make the arancini balls, fry them up, and then make a saffron aioli, which is very easy. It's really good, very good. And my son loves the Bombay sandwich a lot, which is a very popular street food in Mumbai. Here's the recipe. It's like a triple-decker sandwich. So there are like 3 layers of bread, and it's got all these vegetables and cilantro chutney and butter, lots of butter, layered
Always.
between between each layer of bread, and it's absolutely delicious. I don't know anyone who does not like a Bombay sandwich, and it's one of his favorite dishes. And I actually have all the ingredients ready, and then I quickly make it for him when he comes back from school, and he's like a happy camper.
Amazing. Yeah, that was one of the first recipes that I bookmarked in my copy of the book. And I remember you shared a video, I think maybe in your Instagram stories, of a vendor in India where you had gotten the sandwich, and he was so fast.
He just goes like, they just cut like this, like really fast. And it's just so mesmerizing to watch them do it so quickly. It's like the Indian fast food, right? So,
yeah.
But it's super delicious and actually quite healthy. It's like got a ton of vegetables. So.
Oh, great.
You can't say no to it.
I can't wait to try it for myself.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yum. So I love hearing about the behind the scenes glimpses, because I feel like everybody's journey is so different. But there's a lot of cookbooks on the market, maybe a handful of Indian books out there. What makes yours, different, or what distinguishes itself from other Indian cookbooks that maybe would appeal to some of our readers or participants here today?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things that I love to share in any talk is that India is a huge subcontinent. It has 28 states, and each state has their own cuisine. So there are so many different cuisines. What I am focusing in Mumbai Modern is just a minuscule part of what is available in the whole subcontinent of India. It's just my food that I'm showcasing just comes from a small western part of India, Gujarat and Mumbai, which is a city in Maharashtra, the state of Maharashtra. So that's what I'm focusing on. But if you go to any other part of India, you'll get to taste some other varieties of food which may not be available in any restaurant. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah, I was getting another call. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to focus through my book, the cuisine that comes from the small part, the western part of India. What I wanted to focus in my book was fusion recipes, which are sort of, I feel, unique to my book. I wanted to focus in season produce. I'm very passionate about supporting the local farmers. I go to the farmers market every Sunday. I get my fresh stash of fruits and vegetables for my family from the farmers market. I don't buy fresh produce. I don't buy fresh produce from the grocery store because I want to support the local farmers. They work so hard for us, and it's a way to support them. And when you buy in season produce, it's just so tasty. For example, just tomatoes. If you eat tomatoes right now, they're not going to be as sweet or juicy as when you eat it in the peak of summer. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to showcase through this book. And of course, baking. I love baking with in-season fruits as well. And I love to infuse herbs into my bakes and spices into my bakes. And that's what I've done in this book, showcased my bakes, which I'm very fond of. So yeah,
I made the blood orange curd tart with the ginger snap crust, and I was able to share it with my next door neighbors, and they were just raving about the crust and kind of the flavor combination of those two things put together. So
yeah, I saw that.
These recipes are delicious. Yeah,
thank you. Thank you for trying that. It's actually, it's a one that has been on my blog for a long time, and I wanted to put it into the book because it's a dear recipe to me. I make it every single blood orange season because my kids love it too.
Which is coming up soon, right? It's winter-ish, so those should be coming into season soon.
I cannot wait.
Already. Yeah. So if somebody is a newcomer to Gujarati cuisine, where do you recommend they start in your book? Because you have so many delicious recipes. You can see my copy has so many sticky notes. It can be maybe hard to figure out where to start. So if they're a newcomer or a beginner, are there some recipes that you would recommend, or kind of a reading section that they can read up on?
Yeah, so I always recommend anyone starting and wanting to try like an Indian, I do not want to call it curry, but I do have to call it curry just for the sake of understanding it. But if you want to try a curry that is homemade and that you will not get in a restaurant, and that is easy, I highly recommend, the first dish I always recommend is this potato curry. It's called, in my language, in Gujarati, it's called batetanu shak. Shak is basically a vegetable, bateta is potatoes. It's a potato curry, and this is what it looks like.
Ooh,
and
color.
Yeah, it's so good. And it's a very easy recipe. It's a one-pot recipe. You just put everything into a pot, and it's done in like 20-25, within 30 minutes.
Oh,
it's
amazing.
done. Yeah, it's done. It's very easy. One of the first recipes I always recommend people to try. And actually a dear friend who's American, she actually tried this dish, tried making this dish, and she said it was so simple and her kids want this all the time now, which was lovely to hear. So the spices, yes, there are quite a few spices, but that's part of an Indian pantry. But they're just
like a starter kit that you would recommend if somebody is just starting out and starting to experiment with Indian cooking? Are there, a handful of spices that are must-haves? I know you talk a little bit about this in the book, or a lot about it in the book.
Yeah, and this is my starter kit. Actually, I have a picture of the starter kit.
Perfect.
This is the starter kit. So this is the salt, of course. This is the red chili powder. This is cumin and coriander powder. It's mixed together. That's what we do in the Gujarati culture, and my mom did it, and now I do it. I don't know what's the reason for it, but I just
It's delicious. It's fragrant.
It's good. This is cumin seeds, turmeric, garam masala, and mustard seeds. This is your basic spice kit right there.
And are there sources for purchasing in case somebody lives in a city where maybe they don't have as easy access to a grocery store?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question, Lauren. So there are, we live in 2021 and things have changed so much drastically over the past few years. There are so many spice vendors which are available online, and they ship spices online in America, actually, and they ship spices to you, and they're at your doorstep. There are a lot of vendors online. My few recommendations would be Diaspora, and then Spicewala, and there are a couple others which I'm not able to remember right now, but if you look it up online, they're all there.
Great. And I know there's a whole section in your book, so
yeah,
you can either rewatch this recording or look through that section in the book.
Yeah.
Any other tips for success of, how to use these recipes, or things that will, kind of take a home cook really far, or kind of add that extra oomph to, these dishes?
Yeah. So the way I've built the cookbook is I have a pantry and refrigerator staples chapter, and that is sort of like the basis and foundation of the book. There are masalas in it, chutneys in it, jams, which I use throughout the book as well. And I'll just give you like an example of a jam that I use throughout the book. So this is a pear and chai masala jam. So I have the chai masala in the book. It's just putting ingredients into a high-speed blender and getting the powder. And I use the powder to make this jam. This jam, I've used it in 2 of the recipes, which are really fun. And one of them is, sorry.
No, you're fine. I love that these are kind of like building blocks, and it also gives a good sense of how you can use these spices or these jams in different ways.
Yeah, and so I use the jam to make these pear and chai masala cinnamon rolls. which are perfect. Pears are in season right now. And it's one of the most delicious jams that you can make. Holidays are coming up, and you can use it on cheese board with cheese and crackers, or use it to make these cinnamon rolls, which are warm and cozy.
Or give us gifts.
Or give us gifts, exactly. And there's another recipe I use it in, which is actually one of my absolute favorites, which is, I cannot find it, but it's in the book. Oh, there, I found it. It's these mini maple sandwich cookies, and I use the jam to put it in buttercream, and I put it between the cookies. So that's how I've built the cookbook. I have the first chapter, and those spices or those spice powders or the jams or the chutneys can be used throughout the book.
Amazing.
That's how it's used. And I try to showcase using them not just in one recipe, but in like a few recipes. So it's not going to waste, and jams never go to waste.
Never.
Put it on vanilla ice cream and eat it.
Oh my
it's
gosh,
awesome.
yum. Yeah, eat it with toast, put it in a pie. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, speaking of recipes that are multi-purpose, I know that you are going to demo a cocktail for us today, and one of those components is used in a different recipe. Can you talk to us a little bit about that, and then kind of seg into whatever you are demoing for us today?
Yeah, absolutely. So kumquats, for anyone who's not familiar with kumquats, they're like really like jewel, like a citrus fruit. They're this small. And one of the recipes that I made with the kumquats in my book, they're wildly abundant in California. I'm not sure about other states, but this is one of my favorite recipes. It's a kumquat and black sesame bundt cake. And I make candied kumquats, and then I save the syrup from the candied kumquats, and I use that syrup to moisten the cake, and then also use the syrup to sweeten the cocktail that I'm going to demo today. And the cocktail that I'm going to demo is a delicious cocktail. It's a kumquat and ginger caipirinha. I can never pronounce it correctly, but I love the drink. So this is the drink, and the kumquats, I don't have it right now in front of me, but they're like literally like this small, if you can see. I just sliced it up, but they're like that tiny. And you can just eat the skin. You can just eat the whole thing by itself. And it's not bitter at all. The skin is not bitter. It's one of my favorite fruits, actually. And I feel it's underrated, and I wish people would use it more. Yeah. I mean, I can just imagine what a beautiful tart you would make with kumquats. I can just picture it.
Need to hunt some down. Yeah, I was hoping to make this cocktail with you today, but I don't think that kumquats are in season quite yet in Seattle.
Not quite yet.
I looked around and I didn't see any yet.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch you make this cocktail though.
Yeah. So shall we start?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So I just switched up my location because I have everything prepared here. So the alcohol that we're using in this cocktail is cachaça, which is a Brazilian rum. It's very fragrant, and it's just very light and fragrant. And I was introduced to it actually by my husband. He's extremely knowledgeable. He reads a lot, and this is one of his favorite cocktails. And when we went on our first few dates, this was one of the cocktails he introduced me to, a caipirinha. And I wanted to put in the California twist in it, a California Indian twist, by putting kumquats and ginger in it. And that's how I came up with this cocktail. This is the color of the kumquat and ginger simple syrup that I put together. And actually I show how to make the simple syrup in my Instagram stories, if you pop in there.
Perfect. How long does that syrup usually keep in the fridge?
It won't last long because you'll use it up.
Perfect.
But jokes apart, it'll last for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Okay. Yeah, it smells really good. So what we're gonna do is I have kumquats here. I have the simple syrup, the kumquat and ginger simple syrup. I have lime juice. I have the casacha, and some ginger. It's just some grated ginger. So what I'm gonna do is, oh, I forgot to get ice. I'm gonna put the kumquat and ginger in the bowl, and then I'm gonna put the simple syrup and the lime so that I can muddle it. And I'm just gonna
Is there a recipe or recipes in your book that pair well with this cocktail? Maybe a snack or a meal that you like to prepare with alongside this cocktail?
I think it's like a great, I feel like it's a great cocktail to go with appetizers. And I think the arancini would go fantastic with this one. Because the arancini is light, and so is the cocktail. It's really light and very fragrant. So you just want to muddle it to make sure that everything's, you're releasing all the juices from the kumquats and releasing the juices from the ginger as well, to blend in with the drink. And then I'm going to put in the casacha as well. And just a second, I need to get some ice.
As I mentioned in the chat, we'll hop into Q&A after this if anybody has any questions. So feel free to put any questions you want to ask Amisha in the chat, and I will make sure to ask those to her as soon as we are ready for happy hour to begin.
I wish everyone was joining in.
I know.
We just take it for about 20 seconds.
It's okay. Who doesn't love a happy hour at home in your sweatpants in the comfort of your own home too? Can have its perks.
That should be done. And I just pour the whole thing in along with all the kumquats because you can eat it all.
All the fragrance, all the flavor.
Oh yeah. And then we'll take some mint sprigs that I got from my garden and just serve it like that. And
oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, cocktail is ready.
Cheers.
That's the way to start Friday.
Yum. Feels like summer while it's like super gloomy and kind of cold here.
I know, same here. It's very gloomy today.
Oh man, a little dash of sunshine.
Yeah. So it's really good, very tasty. You can eat your kumquat while you're sipping on the drink.
I didn't know that you could eat the skin, that you could just like pop the whole thing in your mouth.
Just pop the whole thing. It's like tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. You just pop them in your mouth.
Do they have a lot of seeds? I feel like I've worked with these before, but it's been a while. Are there a lot of seeds in there?
Some of them have seeds. Most of them don't have seeds. And the seeds are like really tiny. So even if you like eat them, it's no biggie.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, so we will hop into a Q&A section here. So we have a comment from Chris. It says, not a question, just an observation. I've been cooking quite a bit from your book. Everything is delicious, and I really appreciate the time you take with the instructions. It's helpful for the home cook.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
A little cameo in the back. Oh, I think we can all appreciate that in this kind of Zoom era. It really brings life to these discussions and talks.
That's my daughter. I don't know what she's doing there.
Trying to get her arancinis in the background, maybe.
Goodness.
Anybody else have any other questions? Otherwise, are there other things that you wish I had asked about your book, or things that you want to mention or highlight?
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to read a little bit.
Yeah, I would love
if that's
that.
Okay. Oh, I would like to actually showcase one dish, which is a personal favorite of mine. and not many people know about it. But there's something that I would love to mention on this Zoom event, is a recipe that is very dear to me. I'm sorry.
Oh no,
Just
you're
trying to
fine.
find. It's
always elusive when you're looking for it, right?
yeah, it's like, where is it? Goodness, why can't I find it? Oh, there. Okay. I wanted to showcase this recipe because people don't know about it, and just wanted to talk about it because it's very dear to me. It's something I grew up with. It's called undhiyu, and it's just like consists of all winter vegetables like eggplant, sweet potatoes, long green beans, the flat beans, and it's got raw bananas in it as well.
Oh, interesting. And green or ripe or
green, the green, or rather not raw bananas, I would say plantains. The plantains in it, and yeah, it's just, and potatoes in it. It's a very hearty dish, and it's eaten only in the winter because the vegetables are available in the winter in Gujarat.
Cozy food.
Yeah, cozy food, and it's made with like no spices, and that's what I want to educate people on, that not all Indian dishes have the dry spices. This dish has no dry spice. It gets its flavor from cilantro, green chilies, coconut, lime juice. So it gets the sourness. It's got sugar, a little bit of sugar in it for a tad bit sweetness, spiciness from the green chilies. So it's just a paste that you stuff it into all the vegetables, and then you just slow cook it for an hour. And this is a dish I grew up with my family, and I have the best memories of us like just sitting on the floor and prepping all the vegetables. Even my dad, he would join us too. For this vegetable, he would join us. Sorry.
A family affair. I love that.
Yeah.
Not only do you get to partake in the meal together, you get to make it together.
Yeah. And my mom would make it quite often in the winter months. It's a winter vegetable, so she would make it. And it's vegan too. There's literally no dairy in this. So what I was trying to say is like, there are dishes which do not have any dry spices. It just gets flavor from the pure taste of vegetables and cilantro and all those things, alums. And that's what makes it very delicious. And my mom used to make like about 3 to 4 kgs of it, and we would eat it over a course of like 2-3 days because it was so delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A good meal planning dish too.
Yeah.
Make a big part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nourish you for the rest of the week.
Yeah. So it's a really good dish to try in the winter months. And it uses green garlic, which is again another allium which is very underrated. And it's very easy to grow your green garlic too. And I talk about it in one of the recipes in the book. Like you just plant garlic pods in the soil, and you'll see it sprouting in about 3 weeks or so. And like within 6 to 8 weeks, you can use it.
Amazing. What else do you have growing in your garden?
I have a lot of things. I have rosemary. I planted a kumquat bush, but it just has like a few kumquats with which I could make this drink.
One drink's worth, maybe in a few years.
Exactly, one drink. None for my husband. So, and then I have a lot of herbs that I grow in the garden. And of course, in the summer, I love to grow vegetables, tomatoes. And again, it becomes like a family affair. I have them all prepare the soil. Yeah. So it just becomes fun that way.
Great. Was there a selection that you wanted to read for us? Was that the...
Another thing actually that I wanted to point out before I read would be another recipe that I wanted to talk about is Danishes. I always love to challenge myself every year with something that I'm sort of intimidated with. And one of the things I was intimidated with is laminated dough. And growing up, we had this bakery in Mumbai, close to my engineering college, where we would go there after college with my friends, and we would get like these beautiful pastries, and they would like Indianize those pastries with like paneer tikka or chicken tikka or something like that. I don't eat meat, but those were the pastries available. And they had the sweet pastries too, but again, with Indian flavors like guava or pineapple jam or something like that. So I always wanted to learn lamination because of that, because of all those pastries that I grew up eating in Bombay. So one of the recipes that I wanted to show was the chocolate. It's a chocolate cardamom pastry cream halwa and pistachio Danish, which is absolutely delicious. And it's like a labor of love. When you have some time, you should approach it. And I was intimidated. I wanted to make the process easier for my readers. So I put like very thorough step-by-step process. And I have a timeline to go with as well when you're making the Danish.
Perfect.
Because you need time to proof, you need time to build the layers for the Danish. And I do have step-by-step pictures. So I want people to look at that too. So it helps the readers. So that's what I wanted to just mention.
Yum. Sounds like a great winter project, as maybe we'll all be home or, in gatherings where we have, family to share these things with. This could be a good project to take on.
Yeah. And what I was trying to get at is like, readers should be creative in their own way. Just try your own combinations and have fun with it. Have fun with food. Don't take it too seriously. It's just a way of making food, having fun with it, and sharing it with the people you love. So that's the way to go about food. Yeah.
Great philosophy.
So I'll just read a little paragraph for my book, which I love to end any Zoom conversations with a paragraph. That is one of my favorite paragraphs from the book. And that's a picture of my mom when she was young. So cooking is a joy. It is a slow process. It is an experience. The prepping, chopping, tempering, the smells, colors awaken your senses and can be therapeutic for the mind and soul. I personally love a long recipe, a recipe with steps, because it gives me a chance to feel the recipe and put love into it, making it a meal to enjoy with my loved ones. My hope is that you will not be intimidated by Indian spices, that instead you will learn to explore and appreciate the art of Gujarati and Indian food, bring flavors, spices, and color into your homes, that you will not depend upon Indian takeout. Rather, you will create simple Indian meals yourself at home and experience the diversity and flavor of Indian cuisine, because the best Indian food is homemade.
Oh, so warm and so vibrant.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for writing this book and making these recipes accessible to all of us, and for sharing a little bit of your life through this book and sharing your time with us. I'm sure your mom is really proud of what you've done here, and we're just really privileged to be able to be part of that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Lauren, for just taking the time and asking all these wonderful questions, and for allowing me to share a part of my culture with everybody. So
yeah,
really
thank you. I'm excited to continue cooking from this, and I hope everybody else joining us tonight will either has a copy that they're already cooking with or is able to grab one, because they sound delicious, and you've clearly worked really hard to make this easy and accessible for us to replicate.
Yeah, thank you so much. That means a lot to me, Lauren. Hey, Meghna.
All right.
Hi there. Oh my gosh.
Hi.
Sorry, guys. There were a few questions that came through the Q&A.
Oh,
you want to field any of them?
I didn't see any that came through, but feel free to shout those out.
Ashish is asking, what type of potatoes are best for the sandwich? Waxy potatoes?
I simply use the Yukon Gold potatoes, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just Just the kind you used to get them at the farmer's market also? Do they have
I
potatoes?
do get them at the farmer's market.
Nice. I find that farmer's market potatoes are always
They cook faster for some
they
reason.
cook faster. They taste really good. They've got like a nuttier flavor.
Yeah. I recently bought taro from the farmer's market just last week. I saw it and I got so excited.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm like, I want to make like taro chips with it or something like that. So I'm going to experiment.
I'm so jealous of all the farmers markets that are down in California. Our Seattle markets, they sort of stop around this time of year.
Oh, they stopped. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. We've got Emma is asking, have you started plans on another book?
I would love to write a cookbook, a second cookbook, and I do have ideas. One of the things that I wanted to write about was kids' recipes, because I've been so passionate about cooking for my kids right from when they were kids. They've never eaten, believe it or not, after they turned 2.5 or 3. They stopped eating kids' meals at restaurants. They would eat what we would eat in restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has been the best thing that I could have done, because they literally eat any vegetable I give them or any fruit I give them.
Yeah.
And that makes me so happy. And I that's my biggest wish, that kids all over would adapt to that kind of food, because what you put into your body is what makes you healthy. So yeah,
Got to start them young.
Yeah, you got to start them young. Yeah.
This is a question maybe for both of you, Amisha and Lauren. Emma asks, if we live far from California and don't have access to such a variety of wonderful food, do you have any suggestions on where to find or ideas for substitutions?
For me, I would say, I always reply to all my emails, all my Instagram DMs. Always feel free. If you're looking for substitutions, feel free to ask me. I reply immediately. I love to get questions and I love to answer questions. So yeah, Lauren.
Wow, kudos to you for being able to do that. I'm terrible at answering emails and DMs. I would say my general philosophy is making what I have work for me. So ingredients, it's whatever you have access to, kind of making that work in these recipes, or becoming familiar with what you do have access with, so that their flavors and how they play with other ingredients, and kind of making that work for you. And then I think because we have access to technology, there's so many things that we're able to get online through grocery delivery or through larger unnamed retailers that often sell lots of things. It can be easier to access both produce and spices and things like that online if we can't find them locally.
Yeah, very well said, Lauren.
Made the world a lot smaller in that regard, at least when it comes to our kitchens, right? Let's see. We've got a few more questions. Jane asks, are you working with a restaurant to use your recipes? Are there any places we can go eat your food, Amisha?
Oh, no.
Not yet.
Right? I would love to personally just be able to share homemade food, which is not something that you get in Indian restaurants right now. I would love to just do something like that. But it's not in the horizon now, but you never say never.
Yeah, never say never. Someday.
I
think we've
maybe when I'm 60 and I'm like, I have the money, I can start my own restaurant.
Okay. We'll cross our fingers.
First in line.
Exactly. Let's see. We've got a question. What is your favorite Bombay street snack?
Oh my goodness. I have no favorite. I love it all. But yeah, of course, if you want my favorite, it's the cover. This is it. And my kids love it.
The one on the cover?
Yeah. The dahi papri chaat. It's just, actually the hack I've used is my mother-in-law's hack, actually. she came to this country in 1974, and she had no access to Indian restaurants. She was just like 21, 22 at that time. And she found it very hard to adjust to the nature of, just not having access to ingredients that she grew up with. So she devised a hack for the base of this dahi papri chaat. And it's actually made out of puris, which are like just made out of whole wheat dough, and they're fried, which is easily available now in Indian stores. But in those times, she just took a flour tortilla and she cut it and she sort of shallow fried it to give it like the same puri effect. And that's the hack she came up with. And I thought it was like an immigrant story of how she made do with what she had at that time in those times. And it was just so sweet that I had to put it into the book. And she talks about her hardships a lot with me. And I just thought it was one way to honor my mother-in-law too. So
I love that. And that's a great hack for anyone that doesn't have a Indian grocery store near them.
Yeah. And it's just like putting potatoes and, the chutneys on top, some yogurt sauce and the save. But if you don't have the save, it's okay. It makes a dish, but, if you don't have it, it's fine. Yeah.
We make do.
Yeah, you make do.
Okay, last question from Jessie. Jessie asks, my friends and I are going to cook through your book in our new cookbook club starting next year. Do you have any suggestions for how to pick the order of recipes to make?
Like I said, I would highly suggest the potato curry, the one that I mentioned. It's super, super easy. It's a one-pot recipe and with readily available ingredients, if the spices are also available readily. And if you have access to just like pigeon pea lentils, I would say the Gujarati dal, which is again a very, very easy recipe to put together. So usually we eat rice and dal and like some sort of vegetable with it. So the potato curry makes the vegetable, you have the dal, you have the rice. And those are like simple recipes that you can start off with as a suggestion. If you want to be a little more adventurous, I would suggest another favorite of mine. And actually it's my dad's favorite recipe. That's always takes me time to find the recipes in my book.
There's so many good ones.
There's so many to choose from, exactly.
Lauren, you had the right idea with all of your bookmarks.
Where to start? Narrowed it down, but still have to narrow it down further.
Well, you said you're going to make the Mumbai sandwiches first. Is that first on your
Yeah, and then also these masala smashed potatoes.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, those are actually, that's a great recipe to try. You're right.
With cilantro sauce, I'm all about it.
That's a super easy recipe, and a lot of people have made that recipe. A lot of American people have made the recipe and they've loved it. So this is another one if you want to be a little more adventurous. It's got pigeon pea lentils, but you could substitute it with chickpeas if you don't have pigeon pea lentils. They're white pigeon peas, not yellow. But if you do not have that, you can substitute it for chickpeas. And again, other ingredients are easy. If you don't have the save, again, omit it. But it's a good recipe. It's called ragra patties. They're just basically like, I would say like potato patties, spiced potato patties. And then you have like the chickpea lentils on the top, and then with some sauces. It's really good. It's a street food. It's a Mumbai street food.
Yeah, sounds amazing.
Love it. All of those dishes that you mentioned sound so perfect for fall also.
Yes.
Makes me excited to cozy up with a bowl of lentils and
definitely
chickpeas.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that's all that we have time for today. Amisha and Lauren, it was so good to see you both.
Yes,
Even
same here,
even
Meghna.
virtually. Look forward to the day we all get to meet in person in Seattle someday soon, hopefully. Thanks for taking the time to chat with all of our guests today. I know it's really appreciated. And thank you to everyone that joined us tonight. So many great questions and just like thoughtful comments that came up in the chat. Thanks for taking the time to be with us tonight. A recording of tonight's author talk will be available on our YouTube channel after the event. You will get a link to that talk directly from Zoom in a couple of days. So just keep a lookout for that. And again, we've got signed copies. Thank you for sending book plates, Amisha. We've got signed copies of Mumbai Modern here in the store. On behalf of the entire Book Louder team, thanks so much for being here tonight, and enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Meghna. Thank you, Book Louder. Thank you, Lauren. This was wonderful. Thank you to all that were able to join, and really appreciate all that you guys did. Couldn't thank you enough, and I hope I get to see both of you someday soon.
I hope so too. Well,
Next year, we'll make it happen.
2022, guys.
To Northern California.
There we go. All right. Have a good night.
Okay, bye. Take
Bye,
care.
everyone.
Bye.